just like fish, you know.
That's cool. That's cool.
Like, I still eat fish and shit, but like, yeah, that's just well now. I need sort of cut back a bit.
When you see this, how does it make you feel?
Yeah, it's just fucked, isn't it?
I think it's fucked.
That's sad fucked.
Have you ever examined...
You don't need to abuse animals to get meat.
Interesting. We'll maybe explore that. Have you ever examined your beliefs towards eating and using animals much before? So it's undercover footage of the animal agricultural industries.
Oh, so it's like I'm doing marine biology. So.
Really cool. Yeah, these scenes particularly are just like the fishing industry. We show like different industries, as I say, fish, meat, dairy, egg industries, different practices, but everything is standardized and legal within the industry. What is it that interests you in marine biology?
I ain't gonna lie to you, I just like fish, you know.
That's cool. That's cool.
Like, I still eat fish and shit, but like, yeah, that's just well now. I need sort of cut back a bit.
When you see this, how does it make you feel?
Yeah, it's just fucked, isn't it?
I think it's fucked.
Vegan? Veganism?
How does it make you feel when you see animals being exploited like that?
Something.
Why do you think it's nuts?
Sad.
Huh?
Sad chickens.
Yeah, man, yeah, for sure. Do you think that they've done anything wrong to deserve that? To be kept and confined against their will and...
Nothing wrong, no. That's sad.
Have you ever examined...
You don't need to abuse animals to get meat.
Interesting. We'll maybe explore that. Have you ever examined your beliefs towards eating and using animals much before? So, everything I'm showing here is undercover footage in the meat, dairy, egg industries, and it's all standard and legalized practice. It includes labels like free range, high welfare, red tractor approved, RSPCA assured, you know, all the labels that you would recognize in the shops and that these industries use to promote their products. Would it be fair to say that you would be against animal abuse?
Yeah.
Do you think animals have done anything wrong to be, you know, treated so abhorrently, just bred into existence, exploited for their bodies, and slaughtered?
I ain't a vegan or anything, man, but like factory farming and shit is just like, I don't know. There's some deeply like...
I think there's some deeply disturbing issues with factory farming.
Yeah.
Me too, man. For me, like, I am a vegan and I'm an animal rights activist, and it's factory farming is part of the problem, but the reason that factory farming exists, you have to remember before that existed, it started off small scale. And when it was small scale, it started off with this idea that animals are weaker than us, we're stronger than them. It's okay for us to take them out of their natural habitat, to use them and exploit them for their bodies. Now, I get that many years ago we may have been justified to do that in a survival situation, like in the wild when we were wild savages ourselves, but in today's age,
it's less necessary,
yeah, well, I would say it's not necessary at all. Like, you actually brought the word vegan into the conversation, which I find really interesting, and the reason for that is because people are conscious of veganism now. People know. So if veganism is a real thing, and vegans obviously exist in the real world, that in and of itself proves...
What do you think about dairy farming and stuff though? Because I know there's some cows where like if you do not milk them, like it's causing them pain and stuff. I know that's partly due to the breeding that's...
Yeah, so that's a byproduct of humans selectively breeding those animals to produce much more milk than they would naturally.
I think it's an ethical way to do dairy farming though.
Well, I would question why we would feel the need to consume the breast milk of a farm animal in the first place when we can get calcium from plants, which is where like the cows get it from because they eat plants in the first place. And maybe just real quick on the dairy industry, you might not know in terms of ethical. Ultimately, I see it as exploitation because we're breeding them into existence to use them, their bodies. Yeah, but also, why do cows produce milk?
Yeah, obviously just for their own young and shit,
So what do you think happens to the babies?
I'm guessing either go to beef farms or, I guess, slaughtered maybe, I don't know.
So do you really think there is anything ethical about dairy?
I still think it's possible. You could probably do it in an ethical way. I don't think it's something you need to like entirely go on.
So in terms of like standard legal practices, the way they do this on a mass scale, they've developed these systems over time to be like the most cost-effective ways to do this.
Yeah, it's a lot of
yeah, totally. It's about like liters per hour, you know, how much they churn out and everything like this. So in terms of like people saying there's maybe a more ethical way to do it, well, number one, we have already established that it's just not necessary. And even if we were to come up with this hypothetical scenario where there's a more ethical, which basically means a less, in a way that's less exploitative and involves less suffering, you know, it's never going to catch on. It's never going to become like the way forward, because they've already worked out the most cost-effective ways. So it's never going to be a thing. But then I would just ask, like, why do you feel that we would need to, if we can get our calcium, our nutrients, whatever, from a plant-based source, why do you feel that we still need to involve the exploitation and suffering of animals if we don't have to?
I don't know, man. It's not that big, but to be honest with you. But,
do you think it's possible to hold the position that I am someone who says I'm against animal abuse while paying for products that support practices that abuse and slaughter animals?
Yeah, no, I'm not happy with animal abuse, no.
Yeah. What do you feel would be stopping you from no longer paying for animals to be abused and, say, adopting a vegan lifestyle?
Veganism for me, like I'm not going to switch my mind here now.
What makes you say that it's not for you? Because in its very definition, it's a moral position that says, I don't think animals are here for me to use and exploit. You know, if we look back, no, even in
my stance is like fucking animals shouldn't be abused. You shouldn't be tortured for meat. Like,
yeah.
Like fair enough, like fucking meat. Like I'm happy enough to eat and consume meat. But animals don't need to suffer for it.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
2 wee seconds. I'm just having a chat with this gentleman here. So let me just sort of explore what you said there. Okay, there is maybe a difference in animals being abused and slaughtering animals, but as I say, this footage is undercover and it's all standard and legal, and there's hours and hours of it, and there's so much exploitation and abuse.
People should work to like not be vegan, but to work to, you know, stop the exploitation and abuse.
Yeah.
Because eating meat's fine because we can kill animals. I think.
What is your argument for? What is your argument for slaughtering animals when we don't need to do so? Like if I said, here's a burger, and you tried it, tasted great, maybe tasted like meat, had a similar texture, no one had to be exploited and slaughtered. What would be stopping you from just choosing the vegan burger that you enjoy just as much? If I said, and it has the added benefit of no one had to get their head cut off. That's all veganism really is.
That's completely fair, yeah.
You know, it's, yeah, man. I mean, look at that sweet little dog. Like, maybe in a survival situation, you might even eat that dog. But if you had the option to just eat something else other than that dog, you would take it. So veganism is just a logical extension of that same ideal, but, you know, extended to the animals that are typically farmed. Because, as I say, standard legal, and the way they do it is the most cost-effective way. And when you put hidden cameras in places like farms and slaughterhouses when people don't think that they're being watched, you have to bear in mind as well, animals have a desire to live and to be free. So when someone forces them against their will to do something, they'll put up a fight, and that's when the abuse starts. Look, man, I'm not here to try and catch you out or trick you or make you feel judged. Animals can't do a thing. They cannot do a thing to help themselves. So I just take it upon myself to do a little bit of activism in my free time, to speak up, be their voice, and just ask people like questions to get them critically thinking about these things, because my science says what it does. This is very deeply ingrained into the human psyche and has been for a long time. So all these sort of trains of thought that people have or that are already deeply established, they come from our just programming. You know, we're drinking cow's milk before we can even walk and talk. So it's literally in our bloodstream, and it's just so normalized. But I mean, when you see these things, we keep it on dairy. So dairy cows go to the slaughterhouse after their milk production drops. Yeah. How does watching that cow being slaughtered against their will like make you feel?
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up, like.
And have you ever really like examined your beliefs towards eating and using animals before?
My mom's vegetarian, like, so it's not often in that sense, but
it's not often what?
No, my mom's vegetarian, so I've like kind of thought about it, but at the same time, like, I've never.
Would you say that you're against animal abuse?
Yet again, man, hypocritical, I know, but
I respect your honesty, man, and I'd
eat meat and shit, but if I saw someone like, let's say someone just walks up to a cow and feeling like fucking boots it, like, that's fucked up, man.
Isn't it very interesting how we can hold that position, though at the same time sort of have the blindfold on ourselves and say I'm happy to pay for an animal to be slaughtered against their will? Like, I'd rather take a black eye than get my throat cut.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather you see a cow in a field getting smashed out, you'd probably intervene, but like turn away if you know the knife was in your hand to slice their throat or whatever. But I'm just saying, like, if I appreciate, really I do, that you acknowledge the hypocrisy of saying I'm against animal abuse, because my next question would be, do you think it's possible to say you're against animal abuse while paying for these things to happen to animals?
Yeah, no, I see what you mean, bro.
And what do you feel would be stopping you from no longer paying for animals to be abused from today and exploring a vegan lifestyle? If I gave you information, if I gave you, like this, as I say, standard legal practices in these industries. If you educated yourself about this, if I gave you resources about food,
if you gave me an alternative to it, which was localized, because like the one thing is like with veganism and shit, a lot of the stuff's getting imported so far. It's clear and rainforest and stuff. If you were able to encourage local farmers to shift to all plant-based stuff, so
totally.
It's not, because in a way, I don't know, man, maybe you source your stuff locally, and if you do, fair play to you.
Yeah, no, I mean,
it can be causing this much harm, like if you're getting it from, let's say, like fucking Indonesia or some shit.
Yeah. No, I hear you, and it's a common thing that people say. So when it comes to the sort of local aspect, you know, and you're saying about sort of clearing away rainforest for, I guess maybe you're thinking like soy production.
Yeah, soy.
Yeah. So let me tell you this. There's roughly about 80 billion land animals slaughtered every year for animal agriculture. There's 8 billion people on the planet. So 80 billion farm animals, mouths to feed, 8 billion human beings. Who do you think eats more soy? 8 billion humans or 80 billion?
It all goes to...
So when it comes to... so animal agriculture, fact, actually, is one of the leading causes of deforestation and species extinction. In the last 50 years, it's been responsible for over 70% of wildlife habitat loss. And that's directly from animal agriculture. As you know, there's a lot smaller percentage currently of vegans in the world than non-vegans. So would you say the sort of local... like the point that you're raising, do you think that really lies with the small population of vegans, or it's maybe more the...
I don't know.
Do you know what I mean? And again, man, I'm not a confrontational guy. I just want to meet people where they are and say, have you ever thought about this? Like, because I just didn't know, man, and I just seen this stuff and I was like, look, this makes more sense. And I've done my research. I've looked into environmental stats, I've looked into health, I've looked into the ethics. But ultimately, my argument is, even if something comes from far away, which sometimes it may not, is that still a justification to pay for someone to be exploited and killed if we don't have to, you know, if we have an alternative? Just something to think about. And I would say the only way that we make it local is if we get more people on board, and more people in this demographic support that, then locally it will be supported. So it's kind of like reverse engineering. Like, you have to be on board with it before, like, they're not just going to drop local veganism. You gotta show the demand first. For sure. Take bacon, for example. Pigs are lowered into a gas chamber and they choke to death. Well, they choke until the point that they're unconscious, and then they're hung upside down by their leg and someone sticks a knife in their throat. Would you say that is a humane thing to do? Because that's legal and it's standard, and that's what they say is humane. You know? And I think it's important to mention that animals can't... They're a voiceless group of victims. They can't speak for themselves. So yeah, it's this crazy situation where we're oppressing these animals, and we're so privileged to live in this time now where we don't have to, you know what I mean? We're not in a survival situation and we don't have to exploit and kill animals. So my position is like, what's the best argument that people have for continuing to exploit individuals who have done nothing wrong to deserve this, and we have epic vegan alternatives, you know.
You're going for veganism, so what's wrong with just vegetarianism?
Great question. So this is the egg industry here, right? Do you know what's happening on the screen?
Yeah, I can see this. So why is it easier just to, why can you not like, oh, that's awful?
So this is the egg industry which vegetarians support. On the first day of life, male chicks, because they'll never lay eggs, they're of no profit to that industry.
Mixed up, yeah.
Vegetarians pay for that, so that's why I'm not vegetarian.
So is there not like, you not like turn around and just try and like get to a point where like eggs and like milk is extracted like without abuse?
Well, see, I think that we're
in an ideal world.
I think in an ideal world, like we wouldn't even have to use, like think about the money that we'd have to pump into science to get to that point, when currently in this time we have the option of just not needing to do that and just eating something else.
That's awful. Like I can't watch this no more because it's upsetting, obviously.
No,
listen, man, you give me a lot of.
I'll give you a card. Give us a card,
actually. Yeah.
This documentary is called Dominion, and all I would say is watch it with an open mind. You seem like an open guy.
I'll look into it, man.
Yeah, man.
I promise you will.
Just think, if you were in their position, how quickly would you want this to stop? You know? Veganism is just like it's just a peaceful way to live on this earth without exploiting and murdering others for no justifiable reason, you know? And I promise you, man, the food is epic. The food is good.
I've had vegetarian food. My partner was vegetarian. He just fucking like all the food. Yeah, sometimes it can be nice. Sometimes it's
yeah, it's like animal products as well, though. Yeah. You can eat some dodgy animal products too, and sometimes you can though, can't you?
Yeah, you really can. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But man, what's your name?
My name's Jordan.
Jordan Thomas. Man, thanks for stopping. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
You too, man.
Thanks, man.
It's rough stuff, like.
Thanks, man. If I mean, yeah, I would say like if you were in their position, how quickly would you want you to change?
Yeah, no, I get you, man.
Straight up.
I think, yeah. It makes you feel any better, man. This first conversation I've had has genuinely made me actually like consider.
Yeah, man. I mean, I know. There's like the stereotype out there of like preachy vegans and angry vegans and this and that. And I get that. I sort of get that as well. I can see where they're coming from, because this is, you know, it's easy to feel like powerless. Like, how do we stop this? But I'm just using my personal power to like do something. And even if you're the only guy I talk to today, you've given me the time of day. You're open-minded. You're not defensive. You know, you're chill. You're a really chill guy, I can tell. And yeah, man, like, I don't know, I just feel like my brain was hijacked at a young age to be feeding into this system where I never really consciously chose that. For me, it's 100% ethics. You know, like, animals are helpless victims. They're voiceless. They can't speak up for themselves. So, you know, I feel like this resonates with you somewhat. It's maybe tweaked something in your brain. I just want to implore you to look into it more, and just remember, until the day that you maybe do embrace veganism, like, animals will still be abused and killed for your choices. And if you ever do, man, you know, I think that like being vegan is the least we can do, and the very next step would be to be active and be a voice for the voiceless. So if I can give you a card with some information.
Yo, absolutely, man, absolutely. Yeah.
What's your name?
Chris.
Thomas. Man, thanks so much. You're a nice guy. That's my card. Definition of veganism. This documentary is called Dominion. It's free to watch. You can just type in on.
I don't know if I want to watch it again, bro. I think, yeah.
You don't. What do you say?
I don't know if I want to watch it again, man. To be honest with you. Oh, Seaspiracy. Yeah.
You seen that? So yeah, I mean, that's an interesting thing you say. And I said this to the last person I was speaking to. If you find it hard to watch, just ask yourself, how can I put it in my body? I mean, I feel like the least we can do, if we're paying for these things to happen, is to face up to the consequences of our actions. If you can't look at it, man, that already to me tells me that you know that it's wrong. Shit, you know? Yeah, it's messed up. But yeah, man, thanks for stopping, and
no problem.
Just reach out if you have any questions. Respect. Thanks, man.